Welcome to the temple, the forgotten ones, Nephthys and Isis. So, not Isis, Set. That's next month. You see, I'm all over the place. So, Nephthys and Set. Now, I have so many different angles that I want to go in on this session today because I'm just going to keep it super real. We have just come out of probably one of the most important yet potent times, which was eclipse season, right? 7th to the 21st, straight into the 22nd, which was the equinox. So September won't play in. It wasn't playing at all. And, you know, I have been inundated, like the energy within to do with the twin flame frequency. And I put a video out yesterday for those that may have watched it. But if not, you know, you want to know more about the Gospel of Marie with the twin flames, go back there and have a look. But I am really kind of bringing that energy and frequency in now because we really are, as a result of that huge death walk we just all did in eclipse, letting go of the old self, we are now moving into this divine feminine and masculine balance, you know, the union within. And it's been a long process of us being able to clear all the stuff off the top for us to be able to do that. And that is what the tone, I'm going to open the umbrella, as it were. That's what the tone of this class is all about, because actually I've been traveling ever such a lot. So I haven't been able to do the videos as I would like, but that's been part of my process, which I'm going to share with you. Absolute freaking out, control, can't record, not in my environment, Wi-Fi doesn't work. I've just been challenged left, right and center. And that was something that I had to let go of on how I show up in the world. So basically at the beginning of this month, I invoked Nephthys. And she called every single deity that I share in each month, okay, isn't something that I just go, oh, that would be nice to do. I sit with it and I sit with it and I listen and I listen. And one will step forward and say, here I am. And Nephthys was that. And when I invoked her at the beginning of the month for myself and for us, as we announced it on YouTube, she came in like I don't know, I can't even, like, Sekhmet's a force, and I've been initiated consistently with Mother, and that's not for sissies. A lot of us know because we're all devotees of Sekhmet. Nephthys, oh, the quiet yet super strong one, you know. She's the lady of the temple, so of course, like, there's a lot of hidden stuff about her, which is why they're the forgotten ones, same as Set. Nephthys and Set are not the cool kids like Isis and Osiris. I mean, speak to anybody about the Egyptian pantheon and the first thing they'll say, oh yeah, Sekhmet's usually one of them, even though she's a little bit in the shadows, but they will say, oh yeah, Isis and Osiris, because people tend to pick what's comfortable or who is comfortable to work with. You, me, on the other hand, we are the chosen. So they choose us and they say, right, you are our channels, right? To bid their work, right? And that's basically what happens. So when you get to work with gods and goddesses that are kind of not the known ones, expect to be taken extremely deeply, because there's a reason why others won't want to go there, because it means facing your deepest, darkest self. And it's not easy, no judgment on that. And that's why we as a collective have decided together that we would come to Gaia, we would do this work, and we would go where others may fear to tread. And that is what I really want to bring to this group, is like, we go to places where others fear to tread. And it's sometimes a really shitty job, but sometimes it's actually like, wow, you got to remind yourself, like, oh my God, you know, straighten your crown, pull your shoulders back and go, whew, I came here for a reason, right? And then that enables the other collectives and groups to do their work, because as I've always said, it's like building a house. You don't just have an architect. The architect lays the plans. Then you have the plumber, the builder, you know, the electrician. Everybody plays a part, because a house is useless without electricity. House is useless without plumbing. So we all are coming in to build this temple, as it were. So basically, that is your role in what we're doing right now. My screen's just gone funny. Hang on a second. Let me just get rid of that. So yes, so that's kind of like the tone of this. Now we're going to get to know Nephthys and Set a little bit better today, okay? And we are going to go into a grounding meditation now, just to bring ourselves in, and then I'm going to continue to chat and channel as we do, and we're going to go through some layers today. And this group today is very much to do with the Heka codes as well. So Heka is magic and medicine. Those that have known me for a while, it like you know about this. Those that haven't, Heka is intention plus action equals creation. It's a very powerful formula, alchemical formula, and it's an old ancient way of creating, of being the master conscious creators that we are. We're just reinstating it, reinstalling it, remembering it, right? So every single part of my work that I share with you guys is always, in my world, from the 3-stage process of becoming. So intention plus action equals creation, right? So this is going to have a very powerful theme and tone for this. And this class is particularly important because it's the line. It's the depth of, you ain't going to go through this again. This is it. So I know some of us have had an amazing, I know, woo! Trust me, I'm going to share with you in a bit like what I've been through. Oh Lord, I'm sat right here. The Thames is outside my window. I could have quite easily walked in there with rocks in my pocket, no problem. And I was like, I'm out, I'm done. I was tapping out, you know, but that is the power of Set, which we're going to get into. But now before we get into that, I keep digressing because I'm excited. Let's go into a grounding meditation and bring all our energies together as a group and yeah, just kind of bring it all together. So I just want you to close your eyes, okay? Just be comfortable. Make sure that your feet aren't crossed or your hands aren't crossed, placing the palms on your thighs or up to the heavens if you wish to call some stuff in. And you're just going to take a nice, long, slow, deep breath in. Inhale, hold at the top, and a slow exhale. Power of 3, second breath. Inhale. Hold. And exhale. And now inhaling again, in all the way up the spine, in through the nose. Hold. And a slow exhale, keeping your eyes shut. Body relaxes. Relax your jaw, relax your shoulders, relax your glutes, relax your calves and your feet and your fingertips. Maybe you want to move your head from side to side, forward and back, just to release any tension. And become very aware of your space. Become very aware of your body. And as you gently breathe in as a rhythm that suits you, inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. Just bring some gentle, soothing breaths to your being. And you allow the noise to just settle down. You allow my voice to just bring you deeply within. And as you do so, you focus on your heart space, taking a nice, gentle breath into the heart portal. Placing your hands on your sacral chakra, just above your root chakra. Breathing into this space, beautiful orange color, where the divine, masculine and feminine sacredly dance with one another, your place of creativity. And then as you wiggle your toes and you bring some attention to your feet, which are very overlooked, the very parts of the body that actually holds you up. More important than your spine. Brings you balance through your toes. Enables you to walk forward from one threshold to another. Connecting you to the earth through your beautiful feet chakras. And feel the tingleness. Tingleness, is that a word? It is now. Feel the tingleness in your toes. Feel your feet chakras awaken and feel those lights and energies and frequencies deeply connect into the earth. Kind of giving a high five to the root system of the trees, going all the way down through the beds of crystal, feeling your energy of your feet like 2 torches connecting now with the light of Gaia, deeply into her heart. Do you feel that connection? And just feeling that. And now we call in a protective layer of energy, not because we are fearful of outside forces, because we are warriors and warrioresses. We call in protection so we can actually be aligned As above, so below, so within, so without. So we call in to be aligned in all of our light bodies, physical body, just moved around a little bit energetically and maybe even physically, to be in perfect alignment with the cosmos and the star consciousness that shines down and communicates with us constantly. To connect with the Midden Earth, to run that energy all the way down into Gaia, who holds us tentatively. And feeling that light, like a Beam Me Up Scotty Star Trek film, right in that shaft of light. Spotlight is indeed on you. And when it is on you, you shine so bright. And that is protection, knowing that you are aligned with the truth. As above, so below, so within and so without. And we call in all of our guides. Ooh, we just got a big rush there. You guys got big teams there. We might need a bigger room. Calling in all of our guides. Star guides, earth guides, all of them. Even those in physical form, bringing them to this space to join with us today. Feeling yourself being even more held and protected in that alignment as above, so below. Ever present are your star team. Ever present are your divine council. And I wish for you to feel their presence now. And they're uniting as one big collective as we sit here today with one another. And it's a different feeling this time. We are a collective. The shift has happened. Feeling your heart center, kind of almost tickle and activate your high heart. Feel that opening as well. Taking a big deep breath in. And as you exhale, open your eyes. Hello, everybody. Oh, your cameras are on now. Hello. I was feeling a bit... Lindsay came on full force. Woo. Hey, guys. So here we are in Temple. So a little bit of an energy update, which I always do, because they've been a bit thin and far between actually this month. Everything is changing. Even the way that I'm going to be showing up on YouTube is going to be changing. I've had an ass kicking to let go of control to say, Marie, you're going to change. So we've been through that. And I have to say, for myself personally, I only really came online on the solar eclipse. And that was intense. Yeah, I know. I was like, I've never wished, I'm always like present moment. I've never wished going, just get me to the 21st. Just get me to the 21st. I lost everything in my life, but it was a slow burn this year. Little bit. And then the boom, clack, absolute microphone drop. It's done. Nephthys and Set arrive. Now I gave Nephthys her own platform because she warrants it. And I want to speak a lot about her, but let me just say, Set came in and took center stage. I didn't want him to, but I preferred Nephthys. But then again, Nephthys was the one who started all of this month. And I said at the beginning of this month, this month's deity who's going to walk with us is Nephthys. And let me tell you, this is what I love about this so much. I never know the fullness of why they've come into our space. Yes, I have an idea going, well, Nephthys is all about, mourning and going into the grief. Makes sense, right? So I just become the gatekeeper and say, come in, this is what we're doing. It's only when I get stuck into the month and things start happening that I go, oh my God. So it is, be careful of who you wish for, I suppose, but it's all for our highest good. And Nephthys and Set, which is why they're called the forgotten ones. Like I say, they are very much the ones that are in behind the scenes. And I've always felt Isis and Osiris are kind of the cool kids. They're like, they're the ones that are on Instagram and they're just like, hey, and they got millions of followers and everybody loves them and they love being seen and they're just good guys, And then you have Nephthys and Set, who are the other side of the family, who are just like, well, pushed to the side. And even though Nephthys and Isis are twin sisters, what's so beauteous about this is when those two work together, okay, night and day, which is what they are. Isis is day and Nephthys is night. When they come together, they're at that most powerful. And that chucks a whole lot of sisterhood positivity on there, which means like, you know, because there's been so much like shadow in the divine feminine as well as the divine masculine, right? But I want to chuck that in the mix because this has got a big tone of twin flame energy in this group today. And now, obviously, Isis and Nephthys, they come together and they are very, very powerful. And, you know, and that's just, they're very powerful on their own, but when they come together, they're extremely powerful. So with this whole thing, there's never one without the other, right? So we can sit there and we can just work with Sekhmet if you like, but we can't work with Sekhmet and not have Ptah. You cannot pick and choose and just go, well, I'm just going to work there. And like, this is what the tone of all of this is about, as the twin flame frequency really becomes us right now. And all age-old fallacies of like, I need somebody to complete me. I'm seeking my beloved out there. Well, it's going to be a while for you because it's not going to work. The one you seek is yourself, right? And that is about this internal balance, right? And that is what the gods and goddesses have shown up to show us, especially Nephthys and Set, who would be deemed as, if you speak to any Egyptian, they are, okay, Set is the devil. They are like, whoa, you know what I mean? And it's actually not the case, really, because I'm going to get into this. This is a little bit of an educational video as well. They don't like him because they deem him as the devil. He was corrupted. He's the bad guy, you know? But the way, and I can feel him coming in now. Oh my God, I've never felt a God like him come in. He's really strong. But what he showed me, I'm having a hot flush. I know it's menopause, but I'm having a hot flush. But he showed me that he's actually quite small of stature, but he's got this powerful mind. And I believe Osiris is very sort of strong and all the rest of it. So it's a case of like, you get pushed to one side just on how you look. But I think that Set is incredibly powerful. And what I know about Set is he is here to show you your shadow. He's also here to show you the shadow in others, because we know the twin flame frequency is all about looking out the mirror out there. Can you go into yourself and accept your darkest nasties? Can you? I'm not just talking about what's comfortable. It's like, can you go there? Now, we have worked with Sekhmet. She's been taking the layers down and everything like that. And then in comes Set. Set is the one who literally bounces you around to the point where you can't struggle anymore and you can't fight anymore. And you are literally limp on the floor, dunzos, finished. And that is the point of surrender. That is now there's no going back. Now, if you remember when I spoke about this before, when I was just as I was going to Avalon, and I cut my hand, and anyway, those that don't know, cut my hand, and it turned into a huge sacrificial blood ceremony. Instead of getting a plaster, what do us witches and wizards do? We give it away. We give it to the earth. Yeah. We're just like, I can go to A&E later. I might die, but it's fine. Let me do this first. So basically, that's kind of what happened. And in that moment, Ceridwen and Hecate came through and they were like, you are not going back now. There is no going back. And of course, I felt it in its entirety, but not to what I know now. Right? So now, Set is very, very much a very, very powerful force. And of course, Nephthys being his wife, comes sister as well. You know, when you tap into their non-corrupt side, you can actually understand the beautiful love affair that they have with each other. And it makes so much sense. But if you go into, let's say, ancient text, I'm not even going to say scripture, ancient text, you will find that in the Old Kingdom, Set, his name is S-E-T. So that is where his name comes from the Old Kingdom. As he evolved, there's so many different names they come up with. One is Seth, and that is when he was corrupted. So Set has a lot of different names. I can't pronounce half of them, but if you invoke him on that particular name, you're going to get a certain side of him. I'm just going to go with the non-corrupt Set because I like to go back. I ain't going there. I'm going to go to the original source codes of every single deity as far back as I can go, right? So let's talk about Set non-corrupt, right? Him and his wife Nephthys escorted Ra on the sun barge when the sun came down, every single end of day, they would put him on the sun barge that would basically sail to the underworld until it was morning again. Now, this is an old man. He's like, Ra is getting on the boat, and Nephthys is saying, here you go, father, sit down. Set takes his position on the front with his spear, looking for the demons that are going to come up and try and take him out. Now, Nephthys and Isis, believe it or not, like, they are more scarier than Sekhmet. She's pretty fierce. Because guess what? Here's the connection, guys, which I found out the other day. And I was like, love a fire story. They both breathe fire on demons. And a demon or a dark force will shake in their boots when you mention Nephthys or Isis. Isis, who would have thought? Instagram babe, do you know what I mean? She's like fierce, you know, in that right. We know her as love and all that kind of stuff. But I've now understood, the more that I have done more studies with this and channeled and sat with them, you know, Isis has always felt to me that she has a Sekhmet side to her. You know what I mean? Like when I spoke about being in her temple in Egypt, one of our private visits, the last time I channeled her in there, she came through like the Isis that was in the reeds, man. Do you know what I mean? She wasn't in the path. It was deep. It was kind of a little bit kind of like messy and dark. And I was like, whoa, this is like incredible. So they asked why they're called the goddess of 10,000 names, right? Because they can be so many different things. And this is the thing. So basically those two goddesses, like when they went to the underworld, anybody messed with them, they breathe fire. So let's go back to Nephthys, who stood on the boat with her father, Ra. And, you know, and Set's there. Well, her father is actually Geb, but, you know, ultimate father. You know, they're on the boat and Set's there ready to, like, you know, take care of business. And there's Nephthys ready to breathe some fire on someone. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, wow, they were both looking after Ra as he traveled through. So, of course, when Ra traveled through Safe Passage and they brought him up, Ra was a young man again. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. And it's like, this is the death and rebirth. This is what we go through. This is what we've been through, or what I've personally been through in Eclipse, where I just got hammered to the point of literally crawling around on my hands and knees. And even that was an effort. You know what I mean? And it was like I was brought to the depths. That is the ultimate of death, when you actually just don't give a shit anymore and you're just like, I don't care about anything. And how many times do we say, the more we know as powerful, you know, scholars, let's say, on this path, isn't it true? The further you get into this, when somebody asks you a question, I'm like, I have no idea. I actually don't know. I actually don't know. And this brings me to a perfect kind of backdrop of all of this when it comes to the Egyptian pantheon, because I also want to honor the people that have spoken to me in the past on, you know, in YouTube. And people have sort of like corrected me on what I teach, you know, because they believe that the father of that God is something else and all the rest of it. Probably so. But the way in my gospel, I go with the stories just so I can extract the frequency and energy and get the teachings. I really don't care too much about the stories. I care about the ascension ladders and who's arranged where and who owns what frequency and what can they bring out in me. But the reason it's so cloudy is because the people of Egypt, right, would change the deities as they felt. They did it on a whim. So actually, the information that we have, I always work with the Kabbalah Tree of Life. So that's where I get all of my guided information from. The Kabbalah Tree of Life is an ascension ladder in itself. And Isis, what I call the Holy Family, Isis, Nephthys, and Set and Osiris are on there. And that arrangement is what I work with. However, the people, when they got fed up with one God, would merge them. So they would take a seeding from an old god because they wanted to get rid of Atum. Atum was never spoken about. Amun, yeah, but Atum ended up getting kicked out. But they kept him around, Atum, Ra, or you'll see split names. So what happens is it's a little bit like a fashionable thing that suited the people. So my point is, go back to the origin source codes of who it is that you're channeling. In this case, it's Set and Nephthys, and feel them. Ask them to show you their absolute pinnacle point of their beginning, of where they need you to know about. Because when you go into these books and everything like that, you know, the pyramid texts and everything like that is very, very, very complex. So my point is people correcting me and obviously knowing different things about that, nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong, because that person, if they believe that the father is different, there's consciousness in them to do with Egypt as to why they think that. So we can't, like, you know, debate it or anything like that, because like that's the gospel of them. So I encourage you that if you come across something and it's a certain book and it really lands with you, go with it. Because the Egyptian history and the way they put things together, they change the gods and goddesses all the time. So now we're talking about human intervention. We want to know the God consciousness, right? So that's a very important thing. That is why Set got so much bad rep. Now they say with Set that he was actually corrupted around about around about the time that, that he murdered his brother. Now, I just want to rewind now. So now I'm bringing in the humanness. I've got a method to my madness here. Work with me. I'm bringing in the humanness of the Holy Family. Now, the actual Kabbalah tree of life, if you look at it, is like a chakra system. We all know that our lower chakras are to do with earthly things, right? Especially our root chakra, survival and, and tribal consciousness and all this kind of stuff. And, connected to lower earth things, right? Our upper chakras are connected to those things, right? So the actual Kabbalah tree of life is no different. If you go and look at it, not as in the tree, there will be a symbology, sacred geometry of it, where there's the circle, Horus is at the bottom. Then you have the Holy Family, which is obviously Isis, Nephthys, and Osiris and Set. They were the last human gods that lived. So they took on human form, but they were the last ones, apart from Horus. So there was one generation and then Horus. All of the gods and goddesses above didn't take human form. So the parents of the Holy Family are Nut and Geb. Then it goes into Tefnut and Shu, I think. And then it goes up. So I'm interested in, because we're human, in really listening and entertaining the humanness of their lives. Now, think about it. Set gets a bad rep, but the story, be it true or not, I'm just going to go with a traditional story, is that Nephthys was barren. But it speaks that Set was barren because he's the god of the desert. So, of course, dry, nothing grows there. He was all about death, chaos, conflict. Everything died in the desert. That was that. And his brother and sister, Isis and Osiris, were all about fertility and all that kind of thing. So the two of them were opposing opposites, even though the two of them are opposing opposites, right? So it kind of gets quite interesting. So now, Set then wanted to kill his brother because there was a rose behind Osiris's ear. And Nephthys got her brother drunk, tricked him, and because she's an identical twin, kind of like they slept with each other, and that's where Anubis was created, right? So Set comes in, finds a rose on the floor, and was like, everything in my house dies. We don't have plants, darling. Whose is that rose? He loses his absolute mind, obviously, and is raging because his brother slept with his wife, which he already probably had a nyaya with him because he was like the cool kid. Think about it from a human perspective. Then all of a sudden, his shadow comes up. His brother triggered his shadow. I'm going to kill him. That's it. I'm going to kill him. It took over him. So when we listen, when we tap into Set's story as a human, he was a god, but as a human, he battled to tame his human aspects because it took him over. He became very corrupt the way he thought, and he just went on a power, rage, all the rest of it. How many people have you lost in your life to their own bitterness and pain? How many friends have you had to walk away from because you just can't deal with it? So, but now you don't understand their story. But somewhere along the line, something happened, but you can't vibe with that. You have to step away, frequency not matching, right? But we have things that happen in our life. And I believe that Set was so brokenhearted that it just sent him into a bitter rage and he never got over that. You know what I mean? So when you look at that, you kind of think, okay. And then for Nephthys to go and dump Anubis in the desert, you know what I mean? It's like, and then obviously Isis becomes this kind of like surrogate mum. So you kind of understand Set's role because his shadow basically raced out of control, and then he did become the destroyer. And corruption, he's been talking in my ear so much, corruption. I'm here in London, massive corruption. The whole world is corrupt. It's all falling down around us. Governments are falling. We kind of sat here and we knew this was going to happen. I walked through Rome. The whole energy and medicine journey of walking through Rome recently was about things that fall. Like creations and things like that fall. And then like what foundations need to stand strong. And I'm going to do more work on that because Rome taught me ever such a lot. So it's like how corruption can overwhelm you and take you out, or whether you can own that shit and go, hang on a minute, let me have a look at this. And then see if I can, bring some healing and some balance to it at the end of the day, right? So I just wanted to share that perspective of Set and perspective of Nephthys, because I don't think, because everybody's like, oh, shame, Nephthys was married to him. I don't think it was like that. So I want us to go back to the beginning where those two forces really, really work well together, So these gods and goddesses had an earthly life and it was very, very troublesome. So when I've always questioned with the Egypt stuff, why do we, even when I was in Egypt, I was like, why are we worshipping people who are quite awful to each other? Do you know what I mean? Murdering each other, land grabs, all these kind of things. But I personally feel that that's got lost in translation. I believe they existed in that manner to show us and guide us in our human self. And for us as teachers and way showers to observe how they walked so we can build this new earth. They knew we were coming. They knew we were coming. Like, yet they knew Yeshua was coming hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years before he came. They knew that the Messiah was coming. They knew that there was going to be a being that walked this earth to clear all the self-sacrifice and bring everything online. They knew that, you know? So I believe that Isis and all of those knew that there was a collective coming in times to come. They were gods, you know? So I'm going to now talk a little bit more about Nephthys, and we are going to go into a little, space to meet her, okay? And we're going to do the same with Set. And we're going to kind of like weave all of this together to ask you guys questions on how you can move through. Now, okay, open mic. Okay, so I'm going to just ask a couple of people in the group here, and it can just be one word, or because I want you guys to start speaking now, I want you guys to start stepping in and interacting with me. And Lindsay, you know, I'm looking at you because you popped up on my screen. She's like, oh shit, it's like being at a strip show, isn't it? And thinking, oh God, they're going to pull me up on stage. Well, we're not at a strip show. But I'm going to ask if you can just tell us about your eclipse season. Was it because there were some people that had an amazing time, some people not so much? How was it for you?
Oh God, I think the eclipse season started in Leo season for me, and I was diving to the depths. And I resonate with your story because a lot of the stories you share, I'm like, yeah, me too. Like giving up. At one point, I felt like I was in psychosis of like, do I need to go see a psychiatrist? Like, is there something wrong with me?
Yeah.
And then I feel like I had an ego death on the August 29th, and I've just kind of been coasting since then. But the what's being eclipsed out in my life is identities,
Yeah.
like all identities. And I've just gotten to this completely like given up, but not in a bad way given up, but just kind of like, okay, I'm surrendered.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
nothing else to do. So yeah, it's been intense.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very intense.
Yeah. And I used the words numb the other day, and I was talking to my husband. I said, no, it's not numb. Numb's still a active emotion, right? I was like, it's just here. And I think surrender, oh, I've got goosebumps for whatever you said. I think surrender is like kind of like an acceptance finally of what will be will be. And every time I go to step in to do something, they're like, let it come to you. Stop it. It's like you can't unknow what we now know, right? You know? So yes, so thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. So Annette, would you be happy to tell me about your eclipse season? Annette, are you there? I feel like I'm on a radio show. I think we lost her.
Okay, hi.
Hi, Annette. How are you?
Mm,
Oh,
difficult. Okay, it's been very intense, and I would say I had to go through so many light against dark challenges all the time,
yeah,
all day long.
yeah, yeah, for
So I
sure.
don't know where to begin.
How do you feel
It's
now? How do you feel now the solar eclipse has come to pass?
hmm, I don't really know what you mean.
Like how do you feel better, or do you feel that you're still stuck in the storm, as it were?
I know I feel better,
You feel better.
definitely.
And just out
Yeah.
of interest, when did you start to feel like, you started to feel better?
Once I figured out that I do not have to stay stuck in this darkness that always had been pushed upon me like waves, like
Right,
clouds, and they didn't go away. And then I figured out how to get out there, and then it got better. But I
right,
couldn't say when it was.
right.
I couldn't say
Like,
when the date was.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's
It's all
fine. That's fine.
meshed.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we're all different. We're all different. But thank you so much for sharing because, like I say, it
Of
helps
course,
people relate, So thank you for that.
of course.
So this is basically another thing as well. It's different for everybody. This whole process is so different for everybody. And and even though it's kind of like got an umbrella of the same, this time of going through this, definitely Nephthys set, it is definitely the line in the sand. And I think that we're all kind of like feeling the same, where we are. Well, I'm going to actually just go into it because Nephthys will explain where we are. So Nephtys's name, Nephthys is more the Greek name, like always. There's Greek, Roman, whatever, it's never really their name. Like we know Isis is Set or Aset, however, so her name actually is Nebet-Het, Nebet space Het, Lady of the Temple, Lady of the Palace, she was the one that was behind the scenes. And this is why I always prick my ears up when Nephthys comes in, because a lot of us work with Hecate, Nephthys, they're very similar, but they're not the same. And even Sekhmet actually is a bit more out there in the forefront. She'll just grab you. Whereas these goddesses, like I find gods like Osiris, I find gods like Nephthys, or goddesses like Nephthys, these ones that are they're there, I know they're there, but I've always questioned as to why they haven't come forward yet. And then all of a sudden they come in kaboom, because they're waiting for their time to actually be known by you. And as much as you call them in, you're like, well, I don't really get that. I had the same thing with Hathor. A few months ago, when we were coming into the embodiment, she came in full force. So with Nebet-Het, she's the lady of the temple. She's the one that liked to be at home. Isis liked to be seen. So when you see the embalming process and everything like that, you'll actually see that Nekhbet, that's a whole different video. I'm just full of Egyptian gods right now. Mate, that's interesting. I said her name. Don't know. Maybe there's a video coming on that. But Nephthys is the one that will be behind, like when they're lying down, and you'll always see Isis at your feet. So she'll always work behind. So she is the mother of Anubis, as we know, lady of the temple. She is protector against evil spell casting. She is defender of Ra, and she's basically the goddess of the dead. She'll walk you through. It's a threshold goddess again, much like Hecate. She's a threshold goddess, and you find Ceridwen's a little bit the same, but Nephthys and Hecate really, really hold that powerful energy of like liminal spaces. And when you're going to die, she's the one that's going to lead you through to the other side. So with Nephthys, the only way, two things she told me. She was like, you can be, what did she say? Stillness. Stillness is presence. Okay, quiet is something different. Stillness is presence, and it's that present moment. And she said, I will speak when you allow yourself to go into that space. Exactly as you said, Lindsay, there's nothing for you to do. When you shut the F up, Marie, and you basically just sit there and listen, because I'm like, yada, yada, yada. What about this? I've got like, shh, and that's what I got to. It was just like, well, I'm just going to be super, super still. So for me, working with Nephthys, step number one, stillness. White noise out. If you need to stare at a flame on a candle, brings you right into that still presence. If you're on the go and you want to come into present moment, listen to your breath. 3 powerful breaths will bring you right in. And that will just calm everything down. That is where you meet her. The second thing that Nephthys said to me is the only way that you are going to pass this threshold, which is the ultimate threshold, is to feel your grief and pain. No distractions. Yeah, I know. No distractions, nothing. And that is coming down. Like, this is what we've all been through. Can you let go of your to-do list? Like with me, I mean, I will never leave my space as being I love teaching. Temple's my favorite time. This ain't going to go anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Even if it's just me on the call, I'm going to be here every month. It's like, but this is the thing. It's like, I can't show up like I was just booming out content. And it was just like, you've got to let go of that because there's another way to show up. But I was too scared to let go of what I knew to actually entertain what the new might be. And isn't that ridiculous? Because how scary could it be? Do you know what I mean? But I was like, no, I've done it like this the whole time and I don't know how to let go. And then I was put in Italy with my family couldn't record, no Wi-Fi, all the rest of it. So I am working constantly, playing, it should be, but I carry my mission very seriously, and I can sometimes be on this computer for 12 hours recording, doing content, and I just burnt out. And she was like, right, now I have your attention. And I fought it and I fought it. And I'm like, what am I fighting for? I can't record on the go. I can't do any of these things. That's just one example. I had everything tapped out at the same time. So I had to feel what I was feeling. And I just held a really powerful group in Avalon. So that was that. I think that's why I got hit so hard, is because in our Tablets of Light group, we'd gone into Avalon and we'd had 10 days of working with the Lionsgate portal. We brought in some consciousness and light. We were drumming in the center of the Stonehenge, you know, on that day. We were doing so many portal activations. And I just remember being in tears most of the time, because I was like, wow, this is what life really feels like. This isn't just joy on one day, it was constant. And then all of a sudden you close the circle and you pass over to a threshold. Now here's the part as a master, which Nephthys was saying. Can you integrate those two worlds to be one? Well, you can't. These tours and these groups and these things that we show up to are going to be a thing of the past, because the two worlds are going to blend into one. We're going to be null and void. This is the thing. There's going to be a whole bunch of people out there sharing, teaching and workshops and everything like that, that will be another world. But then there'll be us like that going, well, we're here to, that's why those things are there, to help us merge the two worlds. So when we've merged the two worlds, say magical Avalon and this bloody brick wall I ran into, I didn't merge the two worlds. I was like, oh, I've got all my shit to deal with on this side. So I left Avalon and I was like, massive pendulum swing, came out of it. And I was like, oh, this isn't Kansas. Dorothy's got lost. And it was really intense. So it was like, and then I just kept pondering, going, wow, I need to integrate this. I couldn't meditate it away. They made me too tired. I couldn't do anything. The rage, everything just came up. And then as soon as I called in Nephthys, she met me and she put her big black wings around me. In fact, I was sat on top of a roof balcony in London, still here, and she wrapped her wings around and she said, you and I are going to go on an adventure. And I was like, well, let's go to the underworld, because I'm never one to turn away from an adventure. Little did I know that she was about to just take me to my absolute death. And I just think that they laugh, because I got taken. And as soon as she took me and I agreed to the silence, and I agreed to giving my pain the fullness of the space it needed, that's when Set came in. Didn't expect that guy to come in. And he just took me. And he dragged me through Venice, death. Rome, more death. To the beach in Italy, death. I went through the most 3 beautiful places and just died on every single one of them. And he took me there. Now, the way that those two work together is this is how it's going to roll. He's going to take you there, if he hasn't done already, bring in all this chaos, because he's panel beating you. You know, like holding on. Imagine if you're holding on to something and I keep smacking you with a ruler. Eventually, you're going to say, shit, Marie, that's sore, and you're going to let go. Very, very powerful Tao story with an old monk. One student came to his ancient master and said, I'm really struggling with understanding this concept and letting go. I sit in hours and hours of meditation. I just can't seem to let go. And he said, okay, gave him a cup of tea, gave him a cup. And he said, keep talking, starts pouring this hot tea in this boy's hands. And he's like, keep talking, so you can't let go. Okay, great, awesome. And then the tea cup got so hot because he's pouring tea in it. And then suddenly he let go and it smashed on the floor. And the teacher was like, how hard is it to let go? Whoa. And I was like, that's what we were doing. We were holding our hot cups of tea. And then Set was just like, let go, let go, let go. And eventually I just got so pummeled that I got so tired. And just as I'm tapping out, Nephthys came in. She scoops you up. It's like an infinity symbol. And she will help you mourn those layers that Set has just battered the living bejesus out of you. He does all of that, bring you to your knees. And when you are surrendering now, Nephthys comes in and says, right, those tears you got coming, that pain you're feeling, let's walk you through that. So she'll stay with you for a couple of days. And then she'll just like hand you back to Set again. And it goes on like that. And then recent times, as in the last few days, Nephthys came in and she said, you pretty much completed it now. And she started to show me my life in very gentle, it was like wafts of breeze. Oh, Oh yeah. And then I go back into the old life. Oh yeah, look at this possibility. Oh yeah. So now Nephthys' role, now we've been panel beated by a husband, is basically showing us the potential of the renewal. You know, she's taking us through the other side now. And if she's going to take us through to the another side, which is new life, who stands on the other side of new life? Who is the bearer of the sun? Her sister Isis. Oh, sorry, gets me so emotional because Isis is now going to welcome us into October. You know? Yeah, I know, Josh. I thought you would be really happy about that. See, this is the thing. I got told halfway through the month that's what's happening. And I was like, can I stop dying first, please? One at a time. Do you know what I mean? But that's what we're doing here. So basically, this is how we're rolling. So acceptance of grief is frees you up fully, and this opens the portal. So the thing is, where we are now, look, I'm all up for a bit of healing in our energy fields and everything like that. And I do believe that we need support when we are prepared to walk through the grief. But when you want to go to somebody to tell them about you, to take it away, and oh my God, that is a distraction, there's a difference. So what has to happen now, and as shit and as horrible it is, because look, I know not everybody's having a terrible time, but there's a lot of us that have gone through this death walk, and let's face it, it's not going to be the last time. We're just going to become more masterful with walking through it, right? Okay? So this is the thing, you know, it's like, can you just feel what you have to feel and let go of everything and see it all the way through to the end and not pull yourself back from what your process is? And if it means closing the door, switching your phone off, getting into bed, no one gives a shit. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. No one's going to die if you just say, sorry, I'm offline. No one's going to die if I don't do a video. No one's going to die if you don't show up that day, because the thing is, it's like it's your movie. You've created this. And Nephthys said, like, if you're stressed, this is what she showed me. If you're stressed out, and you're like walking me through it. If you're stressed out and you can't let go of anything, you've created this movie. So all the characters in your movie are the ones saying, come on, Marie, deadline. We've got deadlines. We've got content to put out. Da, 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 da. You got to write this. You got to do this. You got to get this tour on the go. You know, if that's what I'm feeling out there, I created it. So I'm creating from my shadow. And that's fine to create from your shadow, because if you do that, that's for a purpose of learning. But if you're not learning from the characters that you've put in your movie, then you're just living in purgatory. Period. And you're not going to come out of it. So can you go to that next level of going, well, this is shit, don't like this energy. Can you go into the stillness and just feel what the lesson is and bring it on as a mirror, you know? So that's how we work with that, you know? So basically, like, you know, what time are we on? Okay, so what I'm going to do, because it's going to be a little bit of a longer one today, you know? So I'm going to take us into a little bit of a meditation to just sit with Nephthys and give you guys a chance to kind of connect with her as herself. And then we're going to work with Set. And I just want you to, and it's going to be a short meditation, but I just want you to feel her. So I'm going to talk you into that, and I'm going to allow the space for you all to connect. Okay. So just getting yourself comfy. And I do apologize if anybody can hear noise outside. I actually have a helipad outside my window. It's crazy. So I've got helicopters flying past my window. I don't know spiritually what that means. We'll look into it. Okay. Oh, this is such a beautiful class, because I'm just feeling Nephthys and Set in a way that is a little softer since the past days. But really feeling Nephthys now. And taking a nice big deep breath into your heart, inhale. And as you exhale, let it all go. Breathing in again, inhale. And as you exhale, just let it all go. And then one more breath as you get to the end of this one. Inhale, the biggest one now, belly rises, chest rises. Inhale all the way to the top. Holding it. And exhale. And now feeling the presence of Nephthys all around. We have called her in along with Set, and they both stand with us, but it is Nephthys that walks towards you now. And as she walks towards you, she's very different to her sister. Her wings are like iridescent, like labradorite. They shimmer and they shine. Very different to her sister of the rainbow colors and frequencies of Isis. Nephthys's wings, although they are dark, they are not menacing. They have depth and magical powers to them. And as she walks towards you now, she walks past you quite swiftly, taking your hand like a mother would do, and when she's in a rush, picking your hand up, and she walks with you now. And you know that you are literally in safe hands, so you allow Nephthys to walk you to somewhere she wants to take you to. A very special place. And she's taking you to her temple, her special place, and you allow her to walk you to her rooms. You arrive at this magical, quite surprising temple. You expect it to be shrouded in darkness and everything like that. But you must realize that Nephthys and Isis are a combination and a reflection of one another. There is an element and frequency of each of them in each other. So you are greeted by the most powerful, beautiful city, crystalline temple of light. And you take a moment and pause. Because as you breathe now, you can feel the frequency of her temple. She speaks light language and she moves her hand around. She opens up the entry to this temple and you walk through. And now she softens. Now she is in her environment. And she takes your hand and she looks deeply into your eyes. Beautiful dark skin that she has got, beautiful long black hair, but her eyes are the most mesmerizing because they're electric blue, and like against her dark skin and her hair, it's wow. She holds your hands. She's laden with bangles and jewelry. And she looks deeply in your eyes and she says, "Come, little sister, little brother. I'm taking you to my very, very special sanctuary of a room." It's more like a hall, actually. You walk in and there are fire lanterns everywhere. Beautiful, hanging baskets of just unexpected, actually. But this is where the elements, where Isis comes here and meets her sister Nephthys. I've actually visited this room now, it's come online again, where I have actually worked with magic with Isis and Nephthys. So the hanging baskets of the beautiful flowers is clearly a representation of Isis, for she's all about fertility and growth. But there is also a lot of, when I say darkness, mystery in this place. And as you walk into this room, she has marked out on the floor this beautiful golden triangle. And as she stands at the peak, at the point of the triangle, she asks for you to step back and observe. And she says, "Here lies the triangle," which is a symbology which is so powerful, but you know this, for you are connected to the pyramid frequencies. You are connected to alchemy. You are connected to the power of three in all ways, dear soul. The peak of this triangle, it is indeed intention. The peak, the other point, action, and the other point, creation. This is indeed the powerful, powerful frequencies of Heka. But today, dear heart, these three powerful points represent something else. At the peak of that point, under the banner, if you like, of intention, is allow. She then throws her hand to the other point. This point here is surrender. And the other point is receiving. You feel the energy of all three. She says it again, and I want you to feel this in your body. I want you to feel when Nephthys speaks out loud, allow. How does that feel and what comes up for you? What do you need to allow? And if you allow, she says it will take you straight through to surrender. Where does surrender come up in your body, and what comes up to the mind? And when she says, now receive, where do you feel energy? How does that make you feel? Are you indeed able to receive? She communicates very clearly that between these 3 points, which is part of an alchemical formula, one may be a little devoid. One may be a little bit sticky. She asks you now to step into the triangle, into the pyramid, of which you do, for you trust Nephthys implicitly. And as you lie down with your head at the peak, so allow is at the peak, you will find to your right side as you lie down, that is surrender, and to your left side, that is receive. And as you lie in this triangle, you feel these energies all around you. So you may feel the fluidity or blockages as you lie here. As she speaks to you, she now walks in an anti-clockwise fashion. For anti-clockwise in the goddess spellcasting world, so to speak, is unlocking and activating any energies. And this is what she's doing. She's unlocking the alchemical triangle of Heka within your being now. You can hear her footsteps and the rustle of her dresses as she moves around, mumbling under her breath some kind of magical words which is activating such things. And she can feel your energy. So she is also activating and clearing any blockages within your being. And she says the words again as she arrives at the peak above your head. Surrender, sweetheart, surrender. And you feel a lot of energy coming into your being. And as you surrender, do you feel the soothing into your being? For the surrender is the portal. She says it's the portal. Allow is what will entertain such things. Surrender is the absolute important energy here. For if you surrender, this opens the doorway for you to receive. So now your body feels limp as you just let go and you surrender to her magic. She now creates a 3D pyramid above you. So imagine that you are lying there with your peak above your head. She now places a whole energetic pyramid over you, as if you were lying at the base of this pyramid, and that peak above you now is reaching far into the cosmos. And she's louder now with her spell casting, talking and speaking. She is now conjuring up frequency and energy from the night sky. The cosmos join her through honor, for this is Nephthys. They are never far away from her because she is the cosmos. She speaks these words out loud. She's conjuring energy. And as this spiral of white light cosmic consciousness comes down now, it starts to come through the peak, the absolute peak of that pyramid, and it starts to stream through into the pyramid of which you are part of. And you feel this energy of cosmic energy coming in is clearing any blockages to do with surrendering. She breathes in for you to do the same. Breathe with her as she breathes. Exhale, she breathes out. She lets go of her divine breath, and it further activates such a experience. And each breath comes in. Inhale again. Exhale, you feel your body just anchor into the earth even more so now, surrendering deeply. And then one more big breath. Inhale, holding it. And as you breathe out, you let go of everything. Anything that was residual, anything that sits still in your being, you let go and you surrender. And with that, a vision comes to your mind's eye and you find yourself just lying in the most deepest, biggest bath of feathers. And you are just, letting go. The cosmos energy still streams into your being, soothing your cells, your muscles, your bones. Everything is just flooding with light into your being. You don't fight it. You're not conscious. You're not trying to activate. You're not trying to work with it. You just are. And then suddenly you feel a different heartbeat. You feel the promise of the new version of you finally come online. And she whispers to you the renewal of you, the rebirth and resurrection of you is a process, but it is not one that is painful or arduous. It is one to be enjoyed, so you can enjoy. And it is a process of a small child, inquisitive, curious, no longer the what ifs of fear of death, but what if I tried that? What if I said yes to that? What if I opened my heart to infinite possibilities? That's receiving. And slowly but surely, in this moment of deep rest, in the loving embrace of Nephthys, she bears witness to the most beautiful lotus flower in your heart, slowly coming up from the dark depths of the mud, making itself known as it bursts out to the light that you have created through surrendering. One petal folds back at a time, and there is almost like angelic singing. And Nephthys, she holds you, and she's now placing her hands on your shoulders from behind you as you lie there. And you feel this deep sense of grounding, embodying and nurturing coming through your being now. She's almost closing off the old. And there is more work or more play to be had with this beautiful alchemical formula that she has ignited for you today. Allow, surrender, and receive. So now she steps up and she steps back, and you literally melt and merge with this triangle, with the Heka, with the frequency of alchemy. It awakens for you. The cosmos energy slowly draws itself back up to the stars. And here you lie peacefully within this triangle of balance, of divine masculine and feminine balance and creation. Thank you, Nephthys. And so it is. And so it is, and so it is. Breathing yourself back into your space now, coming back into where you sit or you lie, wiggling your fingers and your toes, and coming back to the temple. So, we're going to talk a little bit about Set, because now he comes in, because there's going to be a bit of a finale at the end, and we're going to work with Set. And I'm so glad you loved it. I'm so glad you loved it. Yeah, that was like, I didn't quite expect what was coming there, but didn't expect it to go into full Heka codes mode. It was, anyway, I'm just the messenger. You know, I'm so glad you liked it. This is great. This is great. So everybody's feeling fine. This is great. So now we bring in, and I want to bring in the love, not the drama of Set. Okay, we're going to go back in time to the old kingdom, where for me personally, for those of you that will walk with Egypt with me, for those of you who are going to walk with Egypt with me, we will be seeing the old kingdom, and you will see the hieroglyphs on the wall. It's just different. I know, just exciting. It's just different. It's like you go there and it's got less of the death and bludgeoning. You know, it's like, I think there's one man when they go into the barge is actually cuddling a cow, and usually they're slaughtering it. Do you know what I mean? Or something like that. It's just nicer. And I don't know about you, but I'm definitely an old kingdom kind of girl. Do you know what I mean? So let's talk about that. So like, he's always been Set, the god of the desert, right? He's storm, he's chaos. And on a more positive note, because they're all upholders of Ma'at. Ma'at is all about balance, right? And without any of this chaos and drama and traction, nothing can move. Toth says that. When people say, I'm only of the light, I'm like, forever be a blob of energy then, because you're not going to move. Because we need, you know what I mean? We need the two, right? Shadow and light coexist together and the wheel turns. We now going to mention the Hermetic principles, because that's why we're here. Earth, do you know what? Earth is one of the most intense planets to live on, more than any of them. It's the biggest ways of learning here. Why? Because it grants mastery. Because the energy is so intense. So it's actually about mastering the chaos. It's always going to be there. But if you let the chaos get out of hand, just like it did for Set, it's going to basically take over the show, right? So that is all about mastery, isn't it? And that's what we're here, to master the human experience. So he's the god of desert and storm, and he brings all of that chaos. And he's, like I say, an upholder of Ma'at. Chaos is also divine feminine. It can be. We create in the chaos when we're having a mad fury, where we're like a mad professor, and we do this. But chaos, when it's basically got out of hand, means it's stirring up your shadow. Still a good time to create light from it, right? So instead of running from chaos, we embrace it. And the whole point of mastery is being able to stand, which I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the last 2 months in the world, people losing their absolute marbles. Our job to be able to stand in our center and not lose your own marbles and just allow it all to go on and not throat punch anyone. I've been quite good at that lately. I just have. Real perfect example of this. Like before I traveled away from Cape Town and I came over to London, somebody cut me off, and I ended up like flipping them the bird and just losing my mind. Hey, it's my human aspects, all right? I wasn't in my goddess energy. I hadn't had coffee yet. So anyway, turns out that they pulled up next to me. And that is always very embarrassing when you shouted at somebody on the road and they're right there. And I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm going to get out and say what a stupid move that was. It could have killed somebody. This is a car park, shouldn't be. And I sat there and I got myself all hype. And then I was just like, or I could let it go and go and get my coffee. And I did. And I remember walking up going, well done, Marie. You know what I mean? Because I was just like, that was something so simple. Forget about the storyline. It's the rage and the oh my God that comes up inside. So it's really about like, not my circus, not my monkeys, and really coming into this space. And that ultimately, whether you want to get deeply spiritual about it or not, that's life, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You're going to step out of your calm space to basically interact with another? Absolutely not. And this is what collectively we're creating. And more people from the new age spirituality are going to start jumping ship from there, because it's full of chaos, right? Projection, chaos. And I got given a message when I was in not Egypt, that's later, Rome. This very, very powerful message came, and projection and versus authenticity and rest. Projection and performance versus authenticity and rest. I really want to say that again. Projection, performance versus authenticity and rest. This is so powerful that I'm bringing this in now, because Lindsay, it goes back on what you were saying, right? And also, Annette, exactly the same as what you were saying, is like, we don't have to effort to create or go out there and make anything happen now. That's the mastery, the early stages of that we're on now. We've all come to this place where we're just got no more fight left in us. We know that way doesn't work. Set showed us. He's like, there's nothing there for you at all. So you want to die? And we're kind of like, higher self was like, yeah, let's do it. Human self, absolutely not. But like, we all came online, right? But that's the thing, projection and performance versus authenticity and rest. And I say that like a mantra to myself, and it really helps me come back to this new world, because it's new to us. It's not, but it is. So it helps you kind of ground back into that, right? So now going back to Set, the gifts that he brings is Defender of Ra. He's a very, very powerful defender, and he navigated where the boats went. So he's very, very good with working with Sia, Hu, and Heka are the 3 Heka gods that we work with the alchemical work that I do. It's intention plus action equals creation. So intention is vision, Sia is the god of perception, and he was also on the boat with Ra. So, you know, you've got Set at the front who's navigating and everything like that. All of these aspects, power of the mind, very, very important, but it must be in balance, right? So corruption as well. He's also showing us corruption, how easily it can happen when something really, really bad happens to you in a moment of betrayal, perhaps, or something like that, and how it can really mess you up for any future relationships. It can mess you up for just dying early and just being bitter, how that can eat you up. And we'll see that a lot in our parents and that generation, because they didn't have the tools to be able to self-regulate and process how we do, because they opened the doors for us to do that, you know. And it's like, you know, the bitterness that generation has, they did as well as they could, and now they're passing it down the ancestral line, and then we're nailing it. We're like that basketball game when that guy bouncing the ball down there, and it's that one guy is flying in, he'll throw it to that guy, slam dunk. We are the slam dunkers. That's where we are. That's our role. Okay, so if you think of it like that, you know, we mustn't be angry at our parents or anything like that as to what they passed on to us. It was our responsibility through the guidance of Set to transform it into something positive, so death is turning it into something else, right? So now he shows us how your shadow can consume or awaken untamed part of your being. Okay, so the untamed part of your psyche is the bit that no one wants to look at. Crazy lady is what I've been shown, and I'm like, oh my God, thank God I have a husband who loves me and children who actually can't leave because I pay their rent. So it's like, you know, it's like, thank God I have like that. But there's a lot of us that don't have that support base, which is why we have each other here. That's very, very important. But it is the untamed part of your psyche. Can you look at that? I've seen the ugliest parts of myself, and I've looked at myself and gone, oh my God, you know, and it came up with childhood stuff and everything like that. So we're being asked to go to the deepest parts of self. I think a lot of us have already done that. So what is our role right now is we are now adept to help others look at themselves, not literally, but just by through our own presence. You know, they're gonna say, how did you get there? How did you get there? Well, this is how I did it. And others are going to be not willing, but willing to look at themselves because they want to come and live in New Earth with us, right? So as way showers, whether you like it or not, if you're on this call and you're in this tribe with me, whether you like it or not, you're a leader, you're a teacher, you're a way shower. You've taken on that responsibility, your ability to respond. So we are here, and how you do that is not literal. I mean, like, even teaching is going to be a thing of the past, right? It's going to be felt through presence. And that energy conversation is going to happen rather than that conversation, right? So now we got to harness the chaos. That's exactly what we've done. So when he killed Osiris, Osiris is eternal life and fertility. So the battle between higher guidance and shadow impulses. This is another lesson that Set brings us. Impulsing, like, this is what Isis also showed me. Respond, don't react. Really hard to do, to create that space of, because that's the pathway to come in here now, right, into the stillness. So your higher guide battle between your higher guidance and shadow impulses. So once again, we go back to that place of stillness. Thank you, Nephthys, to come into that place, feeling our grief is going more and more and more and more, and making sure that gets seen all the way through to the end. See it to the end. That is the only magic and medicine that you're working with right now, is your own pain, actually, you know. And if we do that, then of course we can actually respond. But if you've got trauma and wounding on board, of course you're going to react, because you're defensive and you're scared and you don't want somebody to poke you in that sore spot, right? You're like, no, you know, but I was, you know, you're arguing with yourself, right? So basically this is where does shadow rule your mind? That's a question for you guys. So this is the thing. So if we're going on about the battle between our higher guidance and shadow impulses, where does shadow rule your mind? And where have you been corrupted? And what I mean by that is, did you see family members, mothers and fathers lose businesses perhaps, which has stopped you from stepping out and maybe saying, I want to do that? Have you witnessed a divorce? Have you been part of a divorce going, ooh, love's a bit tricky there. This is too much. Am I going to be able to love again? Or is anybody going to be able to love me? Do you know what I mean? All of these things. That's what I'm talking about, is where does your shadow rule your mind? Right? And it's like, and at the end of the day, it all boils down, it all comes down to actually support, okay, and love, and that you are worthy. This is very ma'at. One of Ma'at's principles is the principle of justice, right? Justice doesn't mean, oh, you're going to get your just desserts. Justice means that we all have a right to food, shelter, love, community. That's every single person. It's their birthright. No one should be poor. No one should feel unloved. No one should be kicked to the curb. No one. Everybody belongs, right? But if you don't feel that you belong, you're going to create a world that supports that. So where does your shadow rule your mind? Those watching the recording might want to press pause now and go and allow a little bit of a scribble. But where does shadow rule your mind? Hang on, I'm going to pause the video. I'll be back in a minute. So I've spoken about how the people molded gods to their own whims. All right. So that was just in relation to Set. Okay. So we've spoken about that. How Nephthys and Set work together. Okay. We've touched a little bit on that. And so basically Set destroys and plunges you into your darkness. Okay. I've spoken about my process. First of all, Nephthys came in and said, come, my darling, we're going to go on an adventure. In comes Set. You know what? It might be different because you might have already had Set beat 10 bells of whatever out of you. Do you know what I mean? That might be a given and you needed to spend more time with Nephthys. I'm actually just thought about that now. I'm just talking about my experience. But yeah, I needed to go there clearly. And remember, at this stage of the game, right, because we are all teachers and way showers and leaders and all the rest of it, because that is what my work is all about. So if you're listening to this, if you are part of this group, any shape or form, this is who you are. We are all the same frequency to take this to the next level, right? So completely lost my train of thought there. Perimenopause got nothing to do with channeling, just perimenopause. That goes into the cupboard with loads of other thoughts that get lost. Anyway, back to the class. So what was I saying? Okay. Anyway, it's gone. It will come back. So yeah, so Set plunges you into your darkness, and of course Nephthys will weave in and out how she sees fit. Okay, so remember, the ultimate arrival will be with Nephthys. It will be with Nephthys because Nephthys will be the one who takes you through to that portal, right? So how we work with Nephthys beyond this massive cataclysmic shift of consciousness that we're going through, you know, it's going to happen like on a micro level as well. You might be ending a job, or you might be ending a relationship, or you might be ending somewhere where you live or whatever. There's endings and beginnings in everything. So this isn't just for the big stuff, it's for the small stuff as well, right? So basically Set will come in and he will just like show you the shadow in yourself, exactly how that needs to be understood, right? And that's what I was talking about as being all teachers and everything like that, you know. The collective, my thought came back. The collective, what we must realize now, which was a big faux pas from my side as well, which made it more intense. I forget that there is a collective thing going on here. That even though you've got your own stuff going on, this is Gospel of Maurice where I understand it to be. When we say we're working for the collective as well, you cannot work for the collective if you don't have that match vibration within you. Okay? You can't just be here all tickety-boo and I'm winner, but I'm going to go over there and work with the collective because they've got like fear of, or they're too much doubt or whatever. You have to have a frequency of doubt or fear within you to be able to connect to the collective energy, to clear it for yourself and them, right? So as you work for yourself, this is why I always say what you do for yourself, you do for others as well, right? So that is where we're at right now. All of you here, all of you on YouTube, all of you that follow this stream of consciousness like me, we are here now as leaders. And the best thing you can do right now is recognize and know yourself. Yes, sorry, Samar, I've just seen your message here, lead by example. You've got to know yourself and fill those boots. You are here to now embody, not grounded. Grounded and embodied is two different things. And that's another energy that's coming in. This is about embodiment of your role. You are here to anchor those powerful energies and frequencies. And if you've been dying a lot, not everybody goes through this. You know that. Not everybody goes through this. You can speak to somebody and they're just like, no, they're winning. You know, everybody here in our group, we have done so much shadow work and it's been relentless, right? There's a reason for that. Because we are masters and OGs. We know how to die and rise again. You've forgotten, but you know, because we're sat here now, nobody's got a nosebleed. I can't see any blood running out of anybody's nose. Everybody's good. There's no bruises. Do you know what I mean? We're good, right? Which means we rise and we rise and we're stronger and stronger and stronger. That medicine, embody it. Know thyself is to know the gods, right? So this is another thing as well, because you cannot move forward unless you are prepared to see who you really are. And yes, you have done the 9 yards, in fact, even more. Yes, you're gifted. Yes, you're a channel. Another thing on channeling as well. If many of you channel the gods and all of a sudden they've been a little bit quiet, do you know why? Because you've embodied them. I am not meditating as much as I used to. In fact, I've not meditated at all. I can actually go and like clean the toilet and get a message. Do you know what I mean? It's like, or that's what happens. I'll just be walking down the street, and I was watching leaves the other day, and I was getting twin flame frequencies from it. So your way that you connect with spirit is going to be completely different. And this is another thing Nephthys told me as well. She was like, you know, stop trying to do the old way, because the way you become a channel, okay, is basically by embodying it, and you're going to feel it differently. It's not that you don't have anybody around you. Why are you looking around you? Can you not hold yourself? Of course you can. You know what I mean? So it's basically, instead of like, you know, saying, I have a message from Nephthys, you say, I have a message. And it's very Nephthys consciousness, you know? So that also helps you embody what you do. And every single one of us in the world is a channel. Every single one is a twin flame. But we are the front liners of the twin flame. We come to resurrect and rebuild that which was broken, which is why beings like Nephthys and Set are here with you now, right? So it really is about self-realization now. Once you've kind of let the dust blow off and everything like that. I have a timeline. I always have my timelines, don't I, guys? I always have a month, which I get told, sorry, which I'm saying, sorry, I did it there from my guides. I mean, I'm saying to you that November is a very, very big timeline. And I feel that November is when all of this now comes into land. Embodiment is a word I just keep using over and over and over again. You are going to feel so solid and weirdly peaceful. You're going to be devoid of all this chaos and noise because you've mastered it. And it's not going to be so intense. You're going to be scratching around trying to hear a god or goddess, but they're in you already. And you're going to find yourself living more than you've ever done, ever. Right? Because let's face it, I'm sick and tired of sat on the sofa with a million journals around me, writing and channeling and just trying to decode everything. Do you know what I mean? And I quite frankly, I just want to go out and live. And I want to go and walk Egypt with all of you. I want to go and bang my drum in Avalon. I want to go to Greece. I want to do all of these things. Do you know what I mean? And it's time, because at the end of the day, if we don't call it, we can carry on sitting on our sofa, right? So expect it to change. Nothing's left you. Everything's embodied. That's all, you know? So that's what we're doing there. Okay, so now with Set, there's nothing there to grow. So remember, if you want something, what we call in Zimbabwe, varad, if you want a varad, is it South African as well, Joshua? Varad? Or is it like, or is, there you go, a little bit of crossover. So yeah, if it's varad, it's closed, done, you know? So now that's the thing, when you call in Set, you just like take care of it. Now you are harnessing his chaotic energy. You're calling him in and saying, right, let's, I want your chaos, please, because I want to sort something out, instead of being the receiver of a massive sandstorm. You know what I mean? So that's the difference, right? So he's going to, what have I written here? Oh yeah, he's going to basically make sure that you go to the absolute pinnacle peak of death, and that's when Nephthys comes in and they weave together. Remember, we always work with the masculine and feminine frequencies. Like if we're working with Sekhmet, Sekhmet destroys, right? Oh, a little bit of a shiver there, Michelle. Did you feel that? So Sekhmet comes in and she destroys and she clears all the chaos out the way and everything like that. And she brings everything from fire, you know, for her fire into courage. But then we can't just burn shit down. Because it, like, look at Nepal, okay? They've just taken out their government, you know what I mean? And just completely smashed everything to the ground, which I think is absolutely amazing. People are taking back their power, but once everything's burnt to the ground, people are we have it in Africa all the time, don't we, Joshua? When they go in and they destroy everything. And I'm like, yeah, quite rightly so. Power to the people, all for a revolution. But at the end of it, it's like, yeah, people are like, I don't have a shop, I don't have a business. And it's just like, oh God, we don't have a government. We need a council. We need some kind of structural order. That's the divine masculine. So life events, think about the absence of divine masculine, and we just work with Nephthys, we would just be mourning and mourning. She needs Set to be able, for her to be able to bounce off and do her work powerfully, and Set needs her, because without her, his chaos has got no end, right? So this is where I'm going to be going very much into the twin flame energies as of when I did the video a couple of days ago, and we're going to be moving through that deeply now, because now we're coming into the balance. So I would like to bring in Nephthys and Set in playing with their frequencies like alchemists, like we are, in a way that we can use and connect with them with magic rather than an absolute nosebleed butt kicking, right? Which is sometimes needed, but now we're masters, right? So we're going to step in and we're going to harness it and we're going to work with them in that way, right? So let's go in. And let's go in and meet Set now. And I think that, do you know what? Let me just look here. Let me look at my notes, because you know how I like every order. I love order. Okay, but before we do that, because I'm going to make it the grand finale. Remember, it's a finale. I'm going to do Sekhmet. I'm going to do Set and Nephthys. So I'm just going to go through now, because we've already been unexpectedly activated with Nephthys to do with the allow, surrender, and receive. So I'm going to speak this out. You can go back to the video because it's recorded. You might want to do it in that way. So we spoke about allow. So intention plus action equals creation. So we're putting in that place, allow, surrender, and receive, right? So allow is the death walk. Okay. When I was going through my really, really terrible time, some of you know Kira, who's my frequency lady, works with me and on me, and she's like an energy doctor. She said to me, in all of the chaos when I was in Italy, just like, what, I was just dying. She just said, say these 3 words and say it 3 times over. Allow, surrender, receive. Allow, surrender, receive. Allow, surrender, receive. And I said that, did it exactly as she said it 3 times every day. Do you know how much energy it shifted? And do you know how aware I was as to where my stuck energy was? Because I got stuck on receive. And then it unlocked when I went into a certain place. I got divine guidance on that. So let's go back to the beginning. So this is Set and Nephthys, who are going to be working with us on this. Allow, that's the death walk. I am allowing the process. Okay, let's do this. I'm not going to resist anymore. When we resist, we feel very sick in our bodies. When you feel, you know, those energy days where you feel uncomfortable and you're just like, everything's a bit funky and everything like that, you're resisting something. Sometimes you know, sometimes you don't know, but sometimes just acknowledging that you're resisting something. You go, oh, okay, allow, right? Sometimes you just don't need to know, okay? So where are you holding on to the old self? The resistance could be you're holding on to the old you. What are you still holding on to? You're not holding on to those size 6 jeans when you basically banged out a couple of babies and thinking you can fit in them anymore. Throw them out. Do you know what I mean? It's like, let it go. What are you holding on to that you think you need, but you don't? You know, we're very strange as human beings. We hold on to all sorts of things and we don't need them. So where does your resistance lie? That's going to lead you into that. And why can't you just let it go? Like I said to you, I was like, you know, I need to just not do some videos for a while. That was okay. All I had to do is just say, I'm not going to do any videos. It was such a big thing. I'm going to be doing more videos in a different way. What was the problem? So when you take a moment of stillness to ask, why would I be holding on to that? Or you're just holding on to something because somebody wants you to do something and you're like, I don't want to do that. And you're like, ugh. Where's the resistance? Is it the person? Is it what you're being asked to do? You know what I mean? You really do need to go into that stillness to reflect. So allow, big wave of energy that's going to take you into the pinnacle point of surrender, like Nephthys showed us. Now, non-action is an action. Doing nothing is actually an action. Remember that, right? Non-action is an action. And some of us who are very, very powerful in our abilities to create, i.e. me, we have to take these hands and we have to sit on them. And we have to just grind our teeth and go, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. And sometimes you've just got to like get involved a little bit, let it go, right? Let it go. You want to speak? Don't speak. Breathe. You know what I mean? Don't get involved. Let it go. Fall into Nephthys's wings. Give her, allow yourself to surrender into the grief. Feel it all, okay? Have you got to the point of exhaustion yet? Are you tired? Yeah? Like, are you tired? Should be, because like Lindsay said, like that's when it tips, that's when it changes, right? Okay, so now this is a process, so it's day by day. Okay, so be gentle with yourself. Feel what you must. What emotion or story are you stuck in? Okay, so if you can't surrender, what's the story that you keep telling yourself? Right? Can't do it on my own. Too big a project. No one's going to love me. Oh, I haven't got any abundance. What do you keep saying to yourself? You know, especially us women. Oh, I'm so fat. You know, it's like, no, like what, you know, it's like, that's got to go. Okay. So what is the story that you keep telling yourself? These things, move them out the way. It's going to allow you to fall into surrender. So now the last one, receive. So this is the creative part. Interesting. It falls under the banner of creation. So receive, where you say these words, when you say these words, how do you feel? I can speak from example that I felt like it didn't have as much power. Allow, I was good with. Surrender, I was very good with. And then receive took a little bit more work. So I had to just really sit in that energy of receive. So using this alchemical triangle in such a manner to journal or do whatever is so powerful. Heca codes is so powerful. So this is what we're doing right now. So if you can't relax and you can't let go, then you can't receive, right? So you've got to go back to allow and surrender again. Maybe go back to the beginning, right? Okay. So this is the ultimate portal that must be embodied. Ask Nephthys to help you let go. I did, and I was absolutely shocked. If you're ready, she's going to come in like a freight train and take it away from you. You just got to be prepared to allow, surrender, and receive, right? Because the receiving is when she's going to take you through to the end and go, look at this. This is nice. And you're like, oh my God, you get a glimpse of it. Just enough for you to go back and do your shadow work again. And then she's like, oh, can you feel this is brand new? Just enough for you to go back in and complete. Yeah? So like I say, some of us may have already done this, some of us may already be in it still or whatever. Or you want to explain this in certain terms, you can give this to people that need your help, you know? So now the finale, as Lindsay would do. Get my drum, I don't have a drum with me. So we are going to go into a meditation now with Nephthys and Set, okay? And, you know, Nephthys has already given us a beautiful gift of activation to do with this allow, surrender, and receive. And now we're going to go into we're going to go into the twin flame couple and we're going to let them show us their magic in the fullness. So go get yourselves comfy, run for a wee if you need to, whatever you need to do. And we're going to go in. We're going to go in. So get yourselves all in position. Okay. Right then. So, as I say, just making sure that your feet aren't crossed and your hands aren't crossed. You know, you may want to put your palms up to the ceiling for this one, or to the skies, which is receiving. Okay. And then you're going to close your eyes and you're going to take a nice big, deep, just one big breath this time. Inhale. Hold at the top. And exhale. In fact, Nephthys has just come through loud and clear. And we're going to do a little bit of fire breath, as she says, before we begin. So just follow my guidance. And you can do it lying down or sitting up. It is absolutely fine. So now, a fire breath is so it's breathing in through the mouth and releasing through the mouth. And that is all you need to focus on. When we breathe in, belly rises, chest rises. When we exhale, gentle release. You may even want to put your hands on your belly where you feel that. So we're going to breathe quite intensely. You may feel some funny energy coming in through your fingers, but it's going to loosen up some blockages now. And we're going to breathe for a certain amount of time. And I'm going to get you to hold your breath. And all you have to do is not think about anything and just follow my guidance. So breathing in and out for nothing. Inhale. And exhale. And then we start our fire breath. Keep breathing. In, out, in, out. You might get a little bit lightheaded. That's okay. You might get a little bit hot. That's okay. 3 more breaths. In, out, in, out, in, out, in. Hold when you get to the top of the breath. Hold it in. Keep holding. Keep holding. And now exhale. Hold the breath on the way out. Getting ready for round 2. Breathing in. Keep breathing. Keep the rhythm going. In, out, in, out, in, out. Keep going. Keep breathing. You're going to get dizzy. It's okay. You can stop at any time, but if you can, keep going. Last one. Breathe in all the way to the top. Hold it. Keep holding that breath in. Keep holding. And then get ready to slowly release the breath now. Let it out through the mouth. Hold. And you can start breathing again. Now inhale. Keep breathing. Nice and deep, nice and rhythmic. Keep going. You're doing so well. This is very, very hot, fiery breath. So it really burns up the energy. Keep breathing in and out. Keep going. Just a few more breaths left here. In, out. Keep going. And make it your last breath now. Breathing in. Hold it. And slow release out. Breathe out. Hold that breath. Let's do one more round now. Make it your best one now. Breathing in. Really feeling that belly rise and making it fall. Feeling the energy and the divine breath coming into your being. Keep breathing deep, steady, strong. Keep breathing in, out, in, out, in, out, deep. Nice and deep. Feel the energy in your body building now. Just a few more breaths now. Few more breaths. Keep breathing and make it your last breath now. Breathing in. Hold it. You're going to hold it for a little bit longer now, as much as you can. If you get out of breath, take another little sip of air in, but otherwise, keep holding. You're doing so well. Just another 10 seconds here. Keep it up. And release that breath. Exhale all the way out. Gonna hold that breath. And then take one more big breath in now. One more exhale. Just observe how your body feels. Thank you, Nephthys, for the fire breath. Sekhmet was very present there as well. Feeling your energies expanded. And now, feel yourself deeply into your mind's eye. You're walking barefoot. You look down at your feet, and there is just sand beneath your feet. Each step you take is quite tiresome. You become aware of what's around you. You look up at the burning sun in the sky. You carry on walking though, but you're carrying a lot of bags. A lot of bags. You've got a rucksack. You've got another bag over the shoulder, carrying bags in your hands. And you keep walking, and you are getting more and more tired as the sun bellows down upon you. But you know you have a place to go. There is a deep, fiery purpose inside of you, all hail Sekhmet. As you're walking along the sand now, and you do not want to give up, but these bags are just so heavy. And you start to become aware that these bags that you carry are burdensome. These bags that you carry and where you're traveling from is the old world. You left your cities long ago. They crashed and crumbled, and you are no longer to be part of it. That is no doubt the fiery purpose you hold within, which keeps you walking along these hot sands in this hot sun. And as you carry these bags of burdens, you reach for your water bottle. And you pull out this big leather bladder, and you open it up, and you start to drink from it. And much to your desperation, there is all but a drop that falls on your tongue. Desperation overcomes you. Mild panic as well. Am I going to die here? But there's something inside of you that keeps you walking. But you cannot possibly carry these bags any longer. And you know each bag holds things that you actually brought from the old world. And as you walk along this road that you're on, or this sand that you're walking on, it's like utter madness. You're like, well, what am I doing here? What's in these bags anyway? You start to really connect with the attachment and the codependency. You take your rucksack off your bag and you realize, what did you bring from the old world? And you realize inside of it, it is full of unworthiness. It makes your heart sink, makes you feel desperate, reminds you of how useless you feel, how failure becomes you, and you toss it. You let it go. But the feeling is still heavy inside of you. But you feel lighter because you're not carrying it anymore. And then you walk a little bit further, sun's still bellowing. You pull a bag off your shoulder and you realize that this bag is full of fear. But it's your old friend. You've known it for so long. You lived with it in the old world. It was always with you. So why would you travel without it? But you're now realizing it's too heavy to carry. It's too heavy to carry, and you throw it, you toss it, and it rolls away from you down a massive sandbank. You just let it go. It's just still hanging on the right side here. There's a little heaviness on the right, still carrying bags. So as you walk, you start to address the one on your side here. And as you pull this bag off your shoulder and you connect with it. Oh, why am I carrying this? This is full of doubt. Doubt. I don't know where I'm going. Doubt. Where am I walking to? You look behind you. You know the old earth's behind you. You see that. Don't want that. But you're carrying this bag full of doubt. And you're doubtful on your path that you're walking. You're just doubtful. This has got to go. So you let go of this bag. And then suddenly you feel lighter. But then within you, there's all of this heaviness. And you're still plodding along, walking along the sand. And now you actually feel it like it's stuck in your gut. And do you know where it's stuck? It's stuck in your solar plexus. You've been carrying these bags. Yes, you physically let go of the burdens now, and that's a big thing to let go of that. But you're still walking. You're still feeling it in your physical body. You're not quite right. And you've got this fear now because you're feeling your life force just like drain away. Your fear of death is really, really quite powerful. You never knew that you feared death so much. But you carry on walking because there's something inside of you, like a sacred GPS that's saying, keep on going. And that is the powerful master, the ascended master that is walking in physical form. That is the essence as to why you are indeed not failing, you're succeeding. But you don't quite know that, you haven't embodied it. And as you walk along the sand now, just as it couldn't get any worse, you look up, and in the distance, you can just see so much energy forming. So much chaos is up ahead. And it is the biggest, scariest, most powerful sandstorm coming your way. You have nowhere to shelter yourself. You can't even hide behind the bags anymore. They've gone. And you have the moment of just sheer desperation where you just give up. I've got no water. The sun is bellowing. If I don't die of thirst, I'm going to die of this sandstorm. I've got nothing to protect myself. And you just fall to your knees. And suddenly this sandstorm engulfs you and you're on your hands and knees. You're curled over. You do not know what else to do. You look around. It's just one big expansiveness, a desert. Now you can't see anything. This is just critical point, man. There's nothing to hold on to. There's nothing to distract yourself with. And then all of the stories, all of the excuses, all of the bypassing that you've gone through, it just flashes before your mind, and you're just tired of it and you're sick of it. And in truth of it, you just allow yourself to just fall flat on your face in the sand. You allow the sandstorm to come washing over you. It's not washing, it's more like brutally throwing you around the place. And suddenly it changes form now. It swirls around you like a twister. And it starts spinning around faster and faster. And what it's doing now is it's actually stirring up all these horrible emotions inside of you. It's stuck in your solar plexus. You literally want to vomit, but you also want to die. And you're like, what is going on? This is just the end. There is no fight left in you. As this twister whirlwind of sand and chaos is swirling around you. There is too much chaos, too much for you to hold on to. It's all happening at once. And then suddenly in the chaos and in all the swirling of this energy, you see flashes of a man's face. These red eyes, but human body. Bit of a cheeky grin, actually. Mischievous, playful at the same time, but not in the sense that you're ready for. And you realize that this is Set. And as soon as you click in and you realize who it is, he starts dancing around you because he's like, yes, you know who I am. You know who I am. And I am in you. And it is time to face your own inner chaos. That which corrupts you and brings your shadow to the surface and dictates everything that you do. You must die. And you know what? How you feel right now? You feel like you've got no choice. Because you've always got a choice, but you're just done. And in the chaos of this energy, as he starts to pull all of this shadow stuff out of you, any doubt, fear, failure, unworthiness, it all just gets pulled out of your solar plexus because it's like suction now. It's like a vacuum is spinning out. And you are just lying there. You are absolutely helpless. And you're an empty shell of a being. Your human has finally surrendered. That's what's happened here. Your human has said, I give up, I don't know anymore, and I am ready to let go. And in that moment, you experience the deepest sense of peace. The emotion washes over you. There is a serenity in the acceptance of death. You've never felt this light or peaceful, and yet Set still spins around you, conjuring up all of the chaos. And here you lie in the most peaceful state. And just as you're lying there with your arms outstretched, you feel a gentle hand come over yours. And it is not the hand of Set. As you slowly lift your face up, albeit covered in sand and dirt, it's in your mouth, it's everywhere. Set now pulls his energy back. And suddenly there is these two blue eyes, these beautiful iridescent labradorite black wings. the jingle jangle of bangles, even down to a certain scent of anointing oil. You sob, you cry, because you know Nephthys has come. The pain and the grief and the wounds of this life, past life, ancestral, all that is weighed down upon you has now been let go of, and you've got nothing left except your own grief. Finally, she says, you can feel. And you feel it all just coming in, but not to a point where you're engulfed by pain. You are willing. And Nephthys pulls you to her feet. And she holds your face tenderly between her hands. And she blows into your mouth now her life force. She brings you death and then life and resurrection. She brings you death, life, and resurrection. She brings you death, life, and resurrection. You feel her divine breath enter into your own being. And you feel her place her hand on your solar plexus. And she is now sending her beautiful, soothing energy. She wipes away your tears, and her wings fully come around you, enveloping you and holding you. But you're standing. You're not weak. She holds you. And she holds you so closely that she allows you the space to walk from one world to the other. And now you become very aware as she's holding you that Set, her divine counterpart, her twin flame, her beloved, is no longer the sandstorm. He stands around you with his spear, with his undeniable, massive presence of protection, of guidance. And you feel so safe. And then suddenly you get the divine union of these two. You understand them. And then Set steps in, and Nephthys lowers her wings. And you find yourself now standing at the top of that triangle, as Nephthys stands to your right and Set stands to your left. And you are holding hands, and you have created the sacred pyramid. Intention plus action equals creation, but also divine masculine and feminine balance, which creates creation. You are the creation. You are the divine child of these beings. You have been born of the chaos and the pain, yet you are divine, and you are God in physical form. And you feel this in the depths of your being. So strong, so true. I want you to take a moment just to breathe in this sacred dynamic. And let it be known that you can call in Set and Nephthys, as you now know how to work with the chaos and your own grief and pain. Because it's not that scary, is it? For you have risen again. Time will pass. Hearts will break. But you are pure love. And this is what you always come to know yourself as. Each time your heart breaks, it gets stronger. Each time your heart breaks, you reveal more truth of you. But you're divine. And you're here for a purpose in this world. On Gaia. You have a community and you have a job to do, and everything has purpose. everything. Thank you, Nephthys and Set, deeply thank you from me for walking us through what I would deem as probably the most transformative and powerful time of change. And even though we feel like we have been forsaken in our darkest moments, the darkest and deeper you go is that moment of resurrection. And never let us forget that. We rise again. Love and blessings, and so mote it be. Leaving everything turned on, and vibrant and balanced. Taking a nice big deep breath into your being, into your physical body, wiggling your fingers and your toes, and just bringing your energy in now as we really, really just bring a beautiful crust of golden energy around your energy field, just keeping all the good stuff in, keeping you aligned with the cosmos and the earth of Gaia. When you're ready, you can come back to the space. Yo. Oh, goodness me. Well, I never thought that I would feel so heart opened. Like, I've channeled a lot of these deities. And you know what? It's always super potent when we do it together in temple. I feel all of you. We work together, right? And what the irony is, of which is what I was saying, is Nephthys and Set being the forgotten ones. Yeah, my heart has never felt so open as it does now. Yet they're the darkest ones. And when I say the darkest ones, I mean the ones that are at the absolute, you know? So it just goes to show that you never know, do you? You never know. You're so, so welcome, Annette. Yeah, this was powerful. So I'm not gonna chit chat for too long because we need to just let this marinate, man. So as you have heard that I'm gonna be changing things up. I'm so glad you loved it. So glad. We're going to be changing things up, and I'm going to be making my efforts now to do more recorded meditations on YouTube because I love giving them, and it's just always a time thing for me. And so we're going to be having more lives and things like that. And you're so welcome, Judy. It's going to change it up a little bit, you know, So that's my love, the meditations. And so like I say, things are going to change a little bit, but there's still going to be lots of marine magic and everything like that because we're thundering forward now. You know, that there isn't a day that goes by that I don't give blessings for all of you guys and this channel, because there's a much bigger picture here. It's not about, it's not a thank you, Annette. Thank you so much for all the love, guys. I'm just reading all the comments. Thank you. But this was never about filling workshops or things like that for me. It was about calling tribe in, really connecting with those that I vibe with, because we have all walked this path quite lonely, actually, looking for our vibe and our tribe, right? Thanks, Josh. And it's happening. And I've been doing my Egypt tours for quite some years now. And Avalon's just started as well. And Greece is coming online, as well as Africa, which is where I live. And it's a meeting place. It's a meeting place. And I will not be doing tours in the way that I do them probably for too many years ahead, because they're going to change, because we're changing. Once you've remembered and you've gone to certain places, then what else is there? It's gathering, it's community, it's being together and living life, right? So this was what this channel has always been about for me. Now there is, and look, I'm kind of bouncing back and saying what I'm about to say about Egypt, you know, I mean, we have the Sekhmet tour and group, and I know a few of you are already signed on, so excited. So it's happening in May 2026. Now this, as you know, I've always speak about it. I gave it a break for this year, Avalon had to come online, and the Sekhmet pilgrimage is very, very divine feminine. It's very much anchored. A lot of that breath work and everything like that will be doing there, but it really serves a purpose. It's not just another tour. It's about those who really, really want to, first of all, meet their tribe, because I do believe when we come together in these groups, like, for example, this person was meant to meet this person from Alaska, and they end up doing a project together, and I see it happen all the time. And great friendships are remembered. And I'm like, oh, so it's actually about connecting community, because we're the ones that build the pyramid. So those ideas ignite, right? And, you know, and it's really, really important to me, especially the Sekhmet one, because we're all followers of Sekhmet as well. And basically, you know, like that, she's called a lot of us up to do their work, to do her work. And, you know, and some of us will co-create with each other and so on and so forth. And this is very much in light of the new earth. We've got big things to do. And these projects are not to be done on our own. They're to be done together. But one has to walk through the initiations of Sekhmet. I have done it for 10 years. And that is now where I have only been given the thumbs up or the paw up by Sekhmet to actually share this Egypt tour in her name and in her honor, through her guidance, actually, her and Thoth. Everything else for me was initiation. So now it arrives in May 2026, which is interestingly, we're going to be like full on into the new earth. So for those that are really ready to kind of like space hold and, you know, maybe just to step into their leadership role with Sekhmet and everything like that, and really ignite that devotion within, then that's what this tour is all about. So it's very, very divine feminine in a very, very powerful place, as is Egypt. So, and then obviously, you know, we've got Avalon and everything like that. But most of all, I think the most important one is Sekhmet right now, because it's the igniting of the fire. She's all about purpose and everything like that. So, you know, if you feel that you've got all of this magic, you've been through all this death, now you're like, what does it mean? Make it make sense. Sekhmet is our mother. That's exactly what she does. And my process, if you go back, like, you know, to the beginning of my process, that's what she took me through. I was scared of my own shadow, and she took me through 10 years of being ready to do this, to bring community in. And it blows my mind now, because I'm like, wow, I'm speaking to so many of you on a daily basis. We all, and I get emails and everything like that. And I'm like, my God, and we all just know each other. And it even blows my mind, the magic. So now she's put me to work, and she's like, right now, I want you to bring all my children together. And that's how it is. That's the process. So it's a very, very beautiful tour, very, very powerful. And as always, if you're going to walk with me in Egypt, you know, I don't do anything seriously. We go deep, man, but we laugh a lot. And we dance and we sing, and we got fire ceremonies and drumming and cacao and blue lotus. And we do it Marie style. Maybe I even bring my decks. I don't know. We'll see. But those that feel cool, please do reach out and just pop me an email or whatever, and we get on a Zoom call. But I'm going to be talking about this ever such a lot, because it's now Sekhmet time, you know? And with that, I'm going to sign off and let the magic just flow. And thank you so much for all showing up. Thank you for those that are watching on the recording. Love you all. And that was very special for me. And it was really nice to be back with you guys after a really intense month. So thank you for showing up, all of you. All right. Much love. Mwah. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.